Hello, I'm Scott Blokey here with Charlsey Maner ahead of her upcoming fight against Alexandra Lawal. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for taking the time.
And obviously, this is your pro debut. How are you feeling ahead of it? Is it nerves starting to kick in? I know it's got coming about next week, I think it is.
It'll be for Invicta on Friday, and I'm feeling really good. I don't tend to get nervous, just because we put in a lot of work leading up to it, so I feel confident in our preparation. So yeah.
Exactly, and like you're saying, it's for Invicta, one of the biggest organizations, just not just for women's MMA, just in general. How does it feel to be being able to compete on the biggest stage for one of the biggest organizations?
Well, I just feel really grateful for the opportunity. I'm super grateful to Shannon, who, gave me the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to fighting in the Invicta cage and making the most of the opportunity. It'll be really exciting. I believe it's both of our pro debuts,
Yep.
so should be exciting.
Exactly. And you are coming in with a lot of not just MMA amateur experience, but combat sports experience. You've did your figure like 7-0 as an amateur, and then you've went and done some Muay Thai, you've done some kickboxing. Do you feel like all this experience just in fighting is just going to help prepare you for the pro debut?
Yeah, absolutely. I do. Like this will be my first pro MMA fight, but yeah, like you said, I have had a lot of experience. My last fight was actually my 35th fight overall. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to testing my skills and a different just like transitioning all of those skills that I've worked hard on in kickboxing, Muay Thai, and those experiences and translating them to MMA now.
And honestly, you would have came into 2025 with some goals in terms of your fight game. What are you looking for to be able to achieve come at the end of the year? Are you looking for about three fights by the end of the year, or what is the goals?
Yeah, I mean, I train all the time. I don't ever, even whenever I don't have anything scheduled, I'm still training just as much. So, I mean, I'm looking to be as active as possible throughout the end of the year. But yeah, ideally, I would love to get three or four more in by the end of the year.
And like you're saying, you're always in cap, you're never out of it. Do you feel like that just shows your determination to this? You're never just gonna, you're not ever just giving up and spending some time away. You're always looking to make those improvements.
Yeah, I truly do believe that, you kind of always have to be prepared for whatever opportunity comes available. I think, I mean, I'll take like a day or two off after this fight, but
Yeah.
I mean, it won't be anything extensive, and then I'll be right back into it just because I feel like whenever you're trying to reach a higher goal, you just have to be prepared for any opportunity. I mean, you never know when someone might call and say, "Hey, can you fight in a week?" And
Yeah.
I want to be available for opportunities like that. Like for my pro Muay Thai debut, that happened. I took the fight on 2 weeks' notice to go fly to Thailand. So if I wouldn't have been training hard leading up to that, I definitely wouldn't have felt confident saying yes to that opportunity. So I try to just always be in shape, always be ready, and then just stay in the gym and not ever take, long breaks in between.
And how is it being able to, obviously, as most amateur fighters in the USA, they kind of stay in the US for their fights. Now, you not only have
Mhm.
you done that, you've gone out to, like you're saying, Thailand, and you've been able to have those Muay Thai fights there. How is it being able to go out there, experience, be able to fight the best fighters in that field?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, it's just insane. I mean, Muay Thai is obviously the national sport in Thailand, so it's
Yeah,
just on another level. I mean, it's their whole life, and this is my whole life too, but it's, a choice for me. And a lot of times for them, it's not a choice. Like they start fighting whenever they're 4, 5, 6 years old, and it's just all they know. So I just feel really privileged to be able to choose to do this because over in Thailand, a lot of times they don't have a choice. Like their families that's just what they do,
yeah.
whether, kids do or not. So I really do feel honored that I got to go experience train there for a little bit, and then fight. And I would love to go back. It's definitely a goal of mine to go back and maybe live for a few months and just fully immerse myself in their culture.
And what is the main difference between their gyms to the gyms that you guys currently have?
Um, I don't know if there's like significant difference. I mean, like I believe that I train very hard. I have a
Yeah.
wonderful coach. His name's Mark Clem, and he spent a lot of time in Thailand. So we train, I feel like similarly to how they train in Thailand. And so I feel confident in that. But it is another level of training. I mean, they a lot of the Thai fighters live at the gym. They don't even go home. So they just sleep at the gym. They wake up, they train for 2, 3 hours, then chill out at the gym and then train again 2 or 3 hours in the evening, sleep, and then do it, 6 days a week. So, and I do train a lot. So I feel similar to it. But yeah, it's different. It's a way of life in Thailand for sure.
And is there anything that after a fight that you like to do? Like anywhere specifically you like to go to eat? Any food in particular, like a Chinese, Italian? Is there anything that you like to do?
Oh, well, definitely I'm already planning my meal after the weigh-in. We always do Italian immediately after the weigh-ins. Well, not immediately, but a few hours
But
after.
yeah.
And then just after the fight, I mean, I'm a cheesecake fanatic, so after the fight we'll definitely go find some good cheesecake somewhere for sure.
If there's any cheesecake companies out there, feel free to offer up your
I
sponsorship.
know, right? I'll boost you up for sure. I love some cheesecake.
And then obviously, like you're saying, the weigh-ins are coming up. What is your natural like walking weight?
I normally walk around like 140-ish, and then I fight at 125.
And do you feel like do you have anyone that helps you with your weight cut, like any nutritionists or that?
No, I pretty much just from fighting so much, I kind of, it was definitely a learning curve in the beginning. I did in my past, like whenever I was still an amateur, I did miss weight a couple of times just because I had no clue what I was
Yeah.
doing. But, the more you do it, the more you learn what works for your body and what doesn't, and how much time you need and things like that. So I feel like I've sort of gotten it dialed in to where I kind of know what to expect with myself. But yeah, as I continue to progress in the sport, I would love to have, some more professional guidance as far as cutting weight, just because I feel like you can never be too good at it. And I think I definitely could improve with it. But for now, I mean, I know what works for me and I'm just sticking with it.
And I think you were recently at the UFC Greenville. How was that experience?
Yeah, so that's my gym where I train. I train out
Yeah.
of the UFC gym in Greenville, South Carolina, and then I also train out of 10th Planet, Greenville. They're my jujitsu gym, and then the coach that I work with, my Muay Thai coach, he has sort of like his own thing underneath the UFC gym, and it's Ba Muay Thai. So I get a lot of good training, a lot of good coaching, and a lot of great training partners. So I'm fortunate as far as that goes.
And do you feel like having all those different areas that are specific, like your Muay Thai, your Jiu-Jitsu, do you feel like that helps you improve because it's not they're so focused on that one specific area?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I feel really lucky that I get to train with people who really push me, whether it's Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu, MMA. Like, I feel like I'm surrounded by people who force me to elevate myself. And like, I definitely wouldn't want to be training at any gym where I was just, winning all the time. And, because obviously then you're not really being tested. So I
Yeah.
do feel like training with people who force me to rise and elevate myself really has helped me a lot, evolve as a fighter and as a person.
And a lot of people online have been dissing organizations like the GFL for falling apart. Now, I do know that at your gym you do have a few fighters that were supposed to be fighting on those GFL card. And I think what people don't really realize is these are these fighters' careers that they were scheduled for the fight and then it's just disappeared. How much impact does it really have on the fighters when they're scheduled for these fights and then the organization just seems to just dissolve?
Yeah, I don't know too much about that. I do know it's really unfortunate. I hate that, for all of those fighters that it impacted and the work that I'm sure that they were putting in leading up to it, and then now it's just not happening. But at the same time, too, I feel like it is just a kind of a part of the sport. Like it does happen. It's happened to me a bunch where, you train and you put in all this work and you just hope that it happens. And I think it's really unfortunate whenever it does fall through like that, but I feel like you have to be adaptable and, just if me having been in those situations, I'm like, well, it's not like the work was wasted. I mean, I definitely got
Yeah,
better over the time that I was working in this camp for this fight. And so hopefully you can just translate it to whatever opportunity comes up next. But I am really thankful for, shows like Invicta where that doesn't tend to happen.
yeah, exactly. And it seems like with Invicta, do you feel like that this is an organization that obviously it does have just full women's bouts. It allows women to feel more comfortable getting into the sport. They are able to go in there, showcase their ability with a lot of other women, and then be able to get their name out there a bit more.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, they're a very well established show, and I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to fight for them. And yeah, I mean, they're definitely a huge platform, and I love what they're doing for women in the sport and how they're elevating women's mixed martial arts. And I mean, I know that they've had some fighters, fight for Invicta and then eventually get pulled like to the UFC and stuff
Yeah,
like that, which I think is really incredible. So I just, I mean, I'm really grateful and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to have a similar experience.
exactly. And who was it really that you were looking up to in just in the sport?
Oh, well, I follow a lot of Muay Thai, so there's a lot of Muay Thai fighters that I enjoy following. Um, MMA wise, I really like, which she has a Muay Thai background, but Valentina Shevchenko is definitely someone that I look up to. And then Thai wise, I really like Alicia Rodriguez. I don't know if you know who she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite Muay Thai fighters, and I love watching just fights in general. And I mean, I have a lot of respect for any of the high level people who step into the ring. I mean, I know the amount of work that it takes, so I just watch a bunch of fights, honestly.
And what do you make of obviously with one championship? They are based out in Thailand. They put on fights weekly on their Friday fights. Being able to give these fighters that exposure, be able to get them those fights on the biggest platform.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love watching the one Friday fights. I mean, there are some phenomenal fights. I feel like they're similar, to Invicta as far as like they're trying to basically provide a platform for the up and comers, the
Yeah.
people who are hungry for like the next big opportunity. And so I feel like one is similar to Invicta in that way, in that they're providing a big platform to hopefully help you get to the next level. So I do like watching the one fights, and I also like watching the Invicta fights. So
If they can just do an Invicta and one crossover card.
I know, right? That would be so cool.
And obviously with one, a thing that has come into a few people controversy sometimes is that they have got that hydration rule in there to try and keep fighters not trying to cut too much weight and try to be at their natural weight. What do you make of that rule?
I mean, I totally understand why they do it. I mean, cutting weight is obviously not the best thing. It's definitely not safe, and a lot of people do push it really far as far as weight cutting. So I do respect them trying to keep that rule in place to keep it safer for the fighters. However, I feel like fighters are always going to figure out ways to like get around things,
Yeah.
So I'm sure like I don't know. I'm sure just because you test hydrated on the hydration test, I don't know if that's any better than just like a normal weight cut. But obviously I haven't experienced it, so I don't know. But I'm sure it makes I know it makes making weight much harder, because to have to make the weight and pass hydration, because a big part of cutting weight is, you're just sweating a bunch. So obviously at the end of it, you're not going to be very hydrated. So yeah, I personally haven't experienced it, but I'm sure it does make it much more difficult to make weight.
And then obviously, like you're saying, you did look up to Shevchenko when you were growing up in the MMA scene. Obviously, she is fighting for her title this weekend. She is coming into it as a as an underdog. Are you a bit surprising of that?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I always love watching her though. I mean, I love watching all the women in the sport, but I really love how she fights and she's very like sharp, she's very aggressive, she fights very confidently.
Yeah,
So, I mean, even if she's the underdog, I'm still gonna root for her.
and
I love her.
it's kind of like surprising because like you're saying, a fight, maybe 2 fights ago, she was seen as being that unbeatable force. She's just going to go in
Mhm.
there, smash you, defend that title, and come next. And now she's the moderate underdog. It kind of funny how the tide can just turn that quickly.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about this sport and just martial arts in general is that there's you think you reach the top, you think you're the best, and maybe you are the best for a little while, but then people are going to start training specifically for you, and they're
Yeah,
going to start like game planning on how to capitalize on, whatever holes they're able to pick out in your game. And so like if you don't continue evolving and you just try to stay where you're at, like obviously people are going to come and surpass you and beat you. And so I really do feel like with mixed martial arts, you just got to know that there's always going to be someone better and then use that to like push yourself to continue evolving and to not just settle wherever you're at, with your training and with your progress. So I do like that aspect about the sport is I feel like you never can just sit and be like, oh, well, I'm the best now,
yeah. So you kind of there is a saying that goes out there, and it kind of touched on it a little bit. You're always a white belt in the sport. There is always
Mhm.
something else to learn.
Exactly. You can never my coach Mark, he always says you can never be too good at the basics. So it's like I don't know how many jab crosses and body kicks I've thrown, but it's like probably I don't even maybe not a million, but it's definitely in the thousands, and it's like even now like I'm not the best at it. I can always get better at my jab cross and my body kicks and other like basic things. And I just feel like keeping that mindset that you can you can never be too good at, whatever it is. I think that's important for helping you evolve.
And then obviously you're fighting for Invicta just now. Is this just a one fight deal or have you been able to secure a multi-fight deal?
So I was fortunate enough to get a 4 fight contract with Invicta. So this will be the first of hopefully 4 fights. So I'm hoping to get some positive momentum going with this fight and then keep it rocking.
And are you hoping that along as Invicta allows you, obviously, if you do have that wee break between fights, maybe going to take a Muay Thai fight, maybe take some submission fights, some BJJ competitions, just to keep yourself active in between fights and keep that competitive spirit in you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to be as active as possible. And I mean, I know Invicta, they put on shows all the time.
Yeah.
So I hope it won't be an issue as far as having long gaps in between fights because it does, you know, it is hard whenever you fight and then you have a really big long gap. It's just, I do think that ring rust or cage rust, however you want to say it, is a real thing. And so, but if if Invicta is okay with me taking other fights, then absolutely I will take, Muay Thai fight or stay active as far as like competing in jiu-jitsu as well.
Now, Dominic Cruz, if you want to come in here and to put your point in that ring rust doesn't exist, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to have that debate at some point. So, do you think that that cage rust is actually a real thing? Is that you do get rusty if you don't get in there?
I just think maybe not so much with like not so much like with your skills, but like just the experience as a whole. I
Yeah,
think for me, I think that ring rust is a thing just because I have had long gaps in between fights. And it's like, I don't think that my skills are affected, but just like you're getting your mind back into the mindset of, okay, like I gotta I gotta make weight. Like, like this is really happening. I'm gonna, you get in the ring and then the bell goes off. It's like it's really happening versus you just spend so long training and it's not really like you can compete in training, but it's still like kind of a different mindset when you're training with your training partners. Like you can spar hard, but it's still different than actually getting into the ring or getting into the cage and competing with, someone who's trying to beat you. So it's just different. I feel like you can mimic that, but it's just not the same. And I feel like the longer you go in between fights, it's harder to remember what it feels like whenever you get in there. So, I hope to not have super long breaks in between.
Exactly. And hopefully we'll be able to see you out there again fairly soon. Make sure you guys tune in to Invicta 62. You'll be able to see Charlie get her pro debut off to the win and hopefully get a stoppage as well. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming on today. Is there anything you like to say or anyone you're wanting to shout out?
Oh, well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. And then also shout out to Invicta. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm really looking forward to this. And shout out to my coaches, Mark Clem, over at UFC Gym with Bob Muay Thai South and 10th Planet Greenville. My coach is Manny Vasquez. So they've been a huge part of just everything. And I'm just really grateful for them. And I'm excited to put all of this hard work and time spent to to show next weekend.
Exactly. It's going to be a great fight. You guys will definitely not want to miss it. If I'm correct, I think in the States it is in CBS. I think that's correct. But it's a fight you definitely do not want to miss. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Appreciate it.